Have you ever stumbled upon this question? What should I do? How am I supposed to live in this current world? It's really a difficult one. The fact that existing can feel so heavy that a person asks himself that, am I living or just managing or surviving and calling it a life, especially when you feel broken, stuck, trapped, and hopeless all at once, is really exhausting. Beauty of life, we have lost it. In our previous videos, we explored these emotions and their roots. We discussed modern fragmentation, the traps of society, conditioning, and the invisible cages we often live in. Actually, the videos we made was about exploring the hidden problems we often fail to see. How are we revolving around them? How they are shaping our lives? And later we will find path beyond them. Now when you open YouTube today, the platform seems to divide itself into two major sections, entertainment and self-improvement. The self-improvement content catches our attention with endless productivity tips and life advice, but something still feels missing. We have seen many productivity tips, really good ones. But what happens? This big library, and yet you feel empty inside. We just consume and get confused, and at last nothing changes for the better. You easily get lost in an overwhelming ocean of content. And not that. The overload leaves us confused and directionless because there is no clear structure or system to follow. Even the truly helpful content is often drowned out, underrated, or buried, making it hard for the very people who need it the most to find it. And here, if we take a look at some popular self-improvement or way of life advices and tips and try to examine them, we may reach to the reason why we can't get better. So we find people saying, just focus on your goals. Let's see through this for a minute. Many of us are taught that life is about success. Because of that, we set goals and treat them as destinations. At first, this seems reasonable. But a goal-oriented life can easily become an endless cycle. We chase one goal, reach it, and then immediately create another. Sometimes we never reach it at all. Other times we reach it and discover that nothing has fundamentally changed. The pursuit consumes our time, energy, attention, and resources. We become focused on outcomes and gradually lose awareness of the life unfolding around us. We begin measuring ourselves against social expectations rather than our own values. Eventually, we may ask a difficult question. Am I pursuing this because it matters to me or because it is what I was taught to want? Then we hear another popular piece of advice. Just focus on yourself. So we do. We start improving ourselves. We analyze ourselves. We think about ourselves. But sometimes something unexpected happens. Instead of becoming better, we become trapped inside ourselves. We become overly sensitive to criticism. We take everything personally. Every opinion feels important. Every reaction feels like a judgment. We become self-absorbed rather than self-aware. When our attention is focused only on ourselves, the world begins to shrink. Relationships become harder. Loneliness grows. Anxiety grows. Our sense of importance grows alongside our insecurities. This is what happens when self-improvement loses connection with service, contribution, and reality. After this, when you fail at the goals and focusing on yourself, we hear something. A final thing that enters the picture. Just live for your purpose. Or find one. They say a goal is something you reach. Purpose is something you live. A goal ends. A purpose guides. And when your attention moves beyond yourself to your work, your art, your family, your community, or the people you love, everything changes. And here we feel things finally making sense. And we instantly Google our purpose, but it says, well, who knows? Also, purpose can be dangerous. Maybe you start to think, my purpose is to save this world. But then who will save you from this world? Taking this lightly can cause you way more harm than simply living. And similarly, we swing around tips of habits, discipline, comfort zone. Some systems based on above tips that leads to nothing but complexity. And did you notice something? Maybe your life didn't change, but the fees you given to them sure changed their life. You know, if you know. And in this way, we remain where we are, and even worst situation cause we had successfully wasted our precious time and resources. So, how should we live? Perhaps this is one of the simplest questions ever asked, and one of the hardest to answer. For a long time, I have been trying to understand how people can live better, not just individually, but within society itself. I questioned goals, self-focus, purpose, thinking, doubt, truth, comfort, just live today ideology. Every time I found a flaw, I kept digging. What remains isn't a perfect philosophy, it's something much more practical, a core. You don't need to know the meaning of life before living it. Maybe we don't need the final answer before we begin living. We can find purpose, goals, certainty, habit, and all later. Start first and meaning can emerge later. Maybe life starts with something much simpler, an intention to live. What I like most is that it can fit our recent experiences. If 2 weeks ago you had a heart broken, imagine if someone asked you right now, what is your life's purpose? It's almost an impossible question to answer from where you're standing. Because maybe it's shattered, maybe you lose it, and now you are filled with anxiety and insecurity. But if they asked, can you continue participating in life today? That's a much more real question. Not easy, just real. It works not only when life is good, it also works when life is confusing, painful, and unfinished. Now, when we are set with intention, there comes the second part. Knowing. Knowing that we can't control outcomes, but can choose our actions. But before choosing, we should explore. Because how can someone choose wisely if they've never seen the options? A 16-year-old doesn't know life. A 22-year-old doesn't know life. A 40-year-old still discovers things they didn't know. Life reveals itself gradually. Life gives crossroad. Life examines you with time. So in the path we are going to change our direction, and that is totally okay. This is life. We are not supposed to go straight in one direction. Maybe we never find purpose. We may never find a goal. But we will live in awareness. You gain perspective, experience, and start looking reality from above. Most systems start by demanding answers. What will you become? What is your goal? What's your 5-year plan? But maybe a healthier starting point is, you're here. Life is already happening. Start participating. Learn what exists. Then decide. That's not a grand ideology. It's more like an invitation. So all we need is a system that will navigate you through this in much simpler way, which will be revealed in the next video, and will give life a new, fresh beginning.